What's up, guys? We're here at AMC Town Square with Chasing Cinema.
JamesShoe.com,
and we have an epic night tonight. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Arnold Schwarzenegger's back, guys, for not one, not two, not three, but
not
Terminator,
four.
Not four, but Terminator 5, Terminator.
I try to forget four.
Genisys.
Terminator. Let's hear about your history with the Terminator movies.
My first Terminator was Terminator 2.
Really?
Yes, and it was Basic Instinct was the first ever rated R movie I saw from my cousin Howard. Anyway, I saw Terminator 2, I said, whoa, this is crazy. And then I didn't really care for part 1, because you can't watch part 2 first. That's the mistake. You cannot watch Terminator 2 first, and then Terminator Rise of the Machines with the hot blonde. Who's that? He ain't going nowhere now in Hollywood, but the hot blonde, I was like, yeah, it's a departure from 1 and 2, but okay. And then Terminator Salvation, Christian Bale, who made the epic song of, how did that go again? No! I love that remix. If you don't know what I'm talking about, youtube.com, put in Christian Bale rant. It's Bailout remix. It's freaking awesome. And he went crazy. He was method acting. He was in it. He was in the war. He was all in. And then we had the Avatar boy from Australia,
Sam
Worthington. I was like, okay, I'm pumped up, jacked up, gas, I'm getting fired up, amped up. And then that movie was just like
in a CGI Arnold.
Yeah, and that movie was just like.
You literally tried to forget it when we were talking about how many Terminators there were.
It was not good, man. So
everyone's like, well, this is Terminator 1, 2, and 3, and then here's Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, those don't exist.
Off screen.
So it looks good, and I guess one of the problems is when part 2 came out, they revealed that Arnold Schwarzenegger was now a good guy.
Yes, I wanted to talk about this.
Instead of in the marketing, letting everyone think, okay, Arnold's back and he's the bad guy, and then when you watch the movie, you're like, oh my gosh, he's the good guy. They ruin it.
Yes.
And then in Terminator Salvation,
fast forward 24 years.
They didn't learn from it, because in Terminator Salvation, they let us know right away again that Sam Worthington was a Terminator or a cyborg.
Yeah.
Or, what was he?
Cyborg.
He was a machine.
Not
in the preview. They let us know that in the preview. So again, instead of just holding it back, they don't let us. And then now we're here in the year 2015. We're going into the movie, and again, they let us know that Sarah Connor's boy,
John
Connor, is a new mix of Terminators.
Yeah,
like, what are they? It's like, do they just do this with the marketing for Terminator films?
The director actually came out today and said the biggest
I didn't like it.
Yeah, he was not happy with the fact that we gave that kind of information away. It's funny because I talked to people about Terminator, and most people do not remember that Arnold Schwarzenegger was ever a bad guy. No one really remembers the first movie. I went back and revisited 1 and 2. If you've not seen my review for those, you can check them out on our YouTube channel.
By the way, youtube.com/chasingcinema.
Yes. And the great thing about Terminator 1 is that it works like a horror movie. We have these two people after this one woman named Sarah Connor. We don't know why they're there. We don't know what they're going for. I mean, I really wish this was a movie that I really wish I could kind of, totally blank my memory and rewatch, because watching that movie and not knowing why they're after Sarah Connor and what the whole establishment is, and not understanding why these two people are after her, who's gonna be good, who's gonna be bad, really makes this movie powerful. The sequel is, if we erase our mind again, and we didn't watch the trailers, unfortunately, that scene when the T-1000 meets up, will meet up with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and we actually think that they're about to eliminate John Connor. It is scary because we don't know who to believe. We don't know who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. Great moments, but those moments are ruined by trailers. And unfortunately, something like that is happening for this movie. So I'm hoping there's a lot more surprises in this movie, and I hope that that's not going to be a letdown for me when I'm watching it. But Arnold is back. Obviously, we already from the trailer, we're going to see that we're going to be revisiting the first Terminator film.
Which is pretty cool.
Which is going to be pretty cool. I mean, from what I've seen already, the imagery they used to actually reshoot that beginning scene when we first see Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first Terminator looks amazing. So I'm hoping that this movie really pays off. I know that there's already a huge investment in making this movie. In the first Terminator, if you don't remember, Kyle Reese, who is the other guy who is transported to 1984 to save Sarah Connor, is in this department store picking on clothes, and he puts on a pair of Nikes. These Nikes have been discontinued, but Nike actually manufactured and re-established this one shoe so they could actually bring it back.
Did not know that.
Yeah, so that's what I was told. So I could be totally wrong, but that's what I heard.
Love it. And then Jai Courtney doesn't, like, a lot of people don't like him.
See, I don't know. Like, I'm iffy on him. Like, there's no reason for me not to necessarily like him as long as he does something really good. But I'm hoping this movie is really strong. Honestly, I think we talked about it last week. I'm kind of worried about the cheesiness of this movie that is kind of pulling off and really kind of poking at the Arnold Olds joke. So I'm not really sure how this movie's going to go about it, but I'm hoping it's not a Salvation and more like a Terminator 2.
Ooh, bum 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 bum. How long is this movie?
2 hours.
All right. Alright, so I just got out of Magic Mike XXL. If you haven't seen my review, check it out. It's already on jasoncinema.com. But we just got out of Terminator 2. Terminator 5.
I wish.
Bum 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 bum. Jason Cinema. How is it? Because I'm watching it on Thursday.
Well, this is a movie that I've actually... Okay, so I'm still kind of taking this movie in and debating how I feel about it. I think that it exceeded my expectations. I was kind of going with more lower expectations. I wanted it to be good.
Because of Salvation. Because
of Salvation, you know, and some of the trailers, what they've showed me, it wasn't something that I was really interested in. But I was actually surprised that the amount of kind of enjoyment that I found in this movie, though I think there were a lot of negatives to it too. As I'm actually giving this video review right now, I've yet to even write my Terminator Genisys review because of how I'm just constantly wondering how I'm going to word my issues. Now, one thing I really loved about this movie is taking our technology now, because, you know, Judgment Day was in 1997, right? And then the war that was fighting, the War of the Machines, happens in 2029, which isn't that far anymore. It's only 14 years away. So this movie kind of revamped the timeline. This whole movie basically changed what we know. So be prepared for that. And if you are going to see this movie, I really, really, really recommend watching the first two Terminators first. More the first one, because it really, really focuses on those movies and literally recreate scene for scene of what's going on. So though it might seem like a refresher, they change a lot of things. You need to kind of be aware about it. Nonetheless, where was I going with that? Oh, so this movie actually changes. I don't know if this is technically a spoiler, but I'll give you a minor spoiler warning. I don't think it's as bad as revealing that John Connor is a hybrid, but nonetheless, Skynet, in this alternate timeline, Skynet is actually an OS called Genisys. And Genisys, which is Skynet, is being uploaded to everyone's phones and their tablets and everything that we're involved in. So it makes it very modernized. It makes us go, oh, I could really see that happening. You know, because Skynet before, you're like, oh, I guess kind of what Skynet is, but I don't kind of really know what Skynet is. But now we understand that it's actually everything in our phone. It's an OS system. It's great because Genisys was created by the son of Miles Dyson, I believe is the proper name, the guy who we see in Terminator 2 actually try to blow up Skynet. So a lot of really great throwbacks. The problem is that I think the movie's a little bit long. I think it drags it towards the end. I think that the overall like resolution just feels like it's never coming. And when we actually get to the resolution, it feels too clean. And for a Terminator movie like that, I think that there should be a little bit more uncertainty, and some things aren't necessarily explained, but overall I thought it wasn't that bad. That's how I feel. Like I'm honestly really on the fence of like there were some things that I didn't like. I think Jai Courtney was really good. I think the I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Amelia Clark, she was great. You know, because in the trailer I'm like, oh, I don't know if she could pull that off when she says, "Come with me if you want to live." But as we see her in this movie, her chemistry with Arnold Schwarzenegger is really great. But like I said, this is a movie that changes what we know. Everything we know about Terminator automatically changes with something that isn't established on screen. I think that's my biggest problem. Again, kind of a spoiler, we learned that there was actually a Terminator that we aren't aware of, sent back to kill Sarah Connor when she was the age of 9. And since we don't see that, and that's just kind of thrown at us, like, oh, just accept this, it kind of makes us doubt the whole universe when we're like, wait, what? Like, when did this happen? Why didn't we see this? And they show kind of a reminiscent of it in the movie, but it never feels kind of clear. But Arnold Schwarzenegger and this young lady's relationship, their connection, and how, you know, as we learn in T2, that these machines can learn and take in what humans are, they don't necessarily feel, we actually get to see a really, really great bond between them. And there's also really great humor, of course, about actually seeing, there's a moment when Kyle Reese is actually face to face with his very young mother and his his age father, and the actual understanding of that, which is pretty great. But overall, I think Terminator fans won't be disappointed. I mean, I think the problem is don't go in this movie expecting T2 because you're not going to get a T2. It's just not going to be that good. I mean, T2 is one of the greatest action films ever made, one of the greatest science fiction films ever made. Terminator as well.
Who's better action, Mad Max or T2? Action.
Mad Max. Because what makes T2 great in particular is not so much the action, even though there's great action in that movie, it's actually the relationship between Edward Furlong and Arnold and the kind of the depth of the characters.
Really good.
Edward Furlong's great in that movie.
He died.
No, he didn't.
No, his career is
Oh,
dead.
yeah. I was like, no, Edward Furlong's still alive. He's got like 5,000 Twitter followers. Okay, where was I now? You got me off topic.
You haven't even talked about Arnold.
Arnold, okay. Well, because like Arnold is great. I mean, people like because most people who love Terminator, what do they say? Well, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. So anything Arnold does, people are gonna love him for it. Like, I mean, all of his comeback movies to me have not hit me where I'm like, his resurrection's coming. It's just Arnold trying to bring it back. This is the movie that he actually feels the most comfortable in. It's the movie that he seems to most belong in. It is his role. It essentially is his legacy. If you want to really talk about it, I mean, everything about this movie is this universe is really interesting. It's really great. It's creative. I think unfortunately, I can't remember Rise of the Machines very well. And the only reason why I didn't revisit...
That's the one where he's holding the coffin.
That's with the female.
Yeah.
But I really wish I would have revisited it. I revisited the first two because I know how focused it's going to be on this movie. But I think that my liking is kind of right there with Rise of the Machine. It's, okay, it's all right. It's no T1 or T2, but it's an okay addition. I mean, I wasn't disappointed like I thought I was going to be.
Did they leave it open for part 6?
Well, I think with the ability of time travel.
Okay, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
I mean, because you just like, I went back, that whole timeline's gone. But from what I understand, this is going to be a trilogy already.
It's supposed to be a trilogy.
Arnold has only been confirmed for the first one, though. There's no talk about the second or third. But like I said, I think some Terminator fans are going to be kind of upset that their whole understanding of Terminator is already kind of erased and changing. But I think that this movie does do some good things and bad things that overall I think it was alright. It wasn't a bad watch. I wasn't disappointed. It was kind of a watered down action movie. Like when you put this movie against Mad Max, it really kind of falls flat. But when you put it towards like Magic Mike and some other, and Ted 2, I mean, and huge fans of the movie, that people who talk about Terminator 2 and really love it, I think they'll enjoy it. James Cameron said fans of the whole franchise will like this movie, will love this movie. And though I don't consider it love, I think that it's a good addition. It's definitely the 4th or 5th movie in a series. 4th meaning Salvation's over here, so we'll just consider this, another addition to the franchise.
What if James Cameron did another one with Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton?
That would be the one that I think I'm most excited for. James Cameron,
But he's already committed to Avatar 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, but he'll be done by 2020. Ideally, if it goes by, well, I mean, this is what Cameron's words are like. I expect this to be done, and he expects Avatar 4 to be done by 2019. They'll be available. That's perfect because that gives him time to do 3 more Terminators, and then everyone would be like, all right, I'm over it, and then for him to be like, wait, I got one.
That's gonna be literally the best one.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, guys. I mean, remember, James Cameron was a nobody when he actually did Terminator. Yeah. He made a Piranha sequel, and then actually did Terminator. So I mean, if that man was like, I'm gonna go back to my roots, because that's like the movie. That's his origin story, and wants to tell another story, I think it'd be very interesting. Honestly, watching those movies again, I realized how amazing Linda Hamilton is in those movies. I mean, I know she was good, but watching her in T2 especially, just kind of watching what...
She's a BA, bro.
Not only is she a BA, though, but this poor woman has whole life. Like, you watch her in Terminator, and the fun 80s girl is just kind of having fun and enjoying life, and the miserable, like, psychotic girl she becomes in T2 woman.
Flipped.
It's incredible, and she is so good at it, and I think that's why I also really, really like T2. But... I mean, it's a good movie, but it's kind of like Jurassic World in a sense that I think I like Jurassic World a little bit more as enjoyability, maybe. But when you compare them to these movies that are so iconic and have such established... Like, literally, I watched T2. That movie holds up to today. T1 holds up to today. You know, the effects, everything. Like, maybe it's not as crystal clear as it is now, but it still holds up. It's still a great movie. You watch a Blu-ray version, it's fresh. It's new. It feels great. So I think this movie, falls short of its original and where it's coming, but it makes sense that it's a middle of a franchise movie.
How come it doesn't look like what's the passing of Stan Winston? Rest yourself, sir. How come it looks like technology hasn't gotten any better since the T1000 and T2 and T1? It's still a T1000, right? In this one, the Asian dude.
Yes, but he's not the most elite. He's not the most.
No, but what I'm saying is they're both liquid, right?
Yes.
How come it doesn't look like
Who's
technology
both
got? The Robert Patrick in Terminator 2 is the T1000.
Yes.
And then in this one, there's the T1000.
Yes, but
Yeah.
he's not the main protagonist.
No, that's not what I'm asking. How come it doesn't look like technology got any better?
But it has. You just
Oh,
haven't
it
seen
is?
it yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It does look better because in previews it looks the same.
Well, no, that particular model is it, but he's not the only model that's there. And there's a model that you're like, whoo,
Dun 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 dun.
like whoa. I mean, but it's it's
Like whoa.
How would you get better than liquid metal?
Dun 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 dun.
Terminator Genisys is a movie that I'm still kind of taking in, but I really recommend for all Terminator fans. And I think a movie that anyone who wants to go for a fun movie that's not. If you think about it too hard, maybe it won't be as great as you're letting it. But if you're a fan of Terminator, you're gonna.
That's
like
the
it.
crap you always do.
do you
Think
mean?
too hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, but see, this is a movie that's so smart that it throws so many dates and timelines at you. You're like, I can't.
ChasingCinema.com/
Terminator Genisys.
That way they can understand the full-on review written by
Myself.
Jacob R. Toronto. Just want to say that.
I'd say go see this over Magic Mike.
If you
And
haven't
Ted
seen,
too.
but if you haven't seen our review for Magic Mike, guess what?
Go check it out.
It's already online.
It's already online.
Right now.
Where you been?
If you're watching this, it's already online, people. Already been there, done that, did ya?
And see, right below, there's a great section known as the comment section. I'd like to hear what you have to say about either of these films. Let's have the conversation down
Dun
here.
dun dun dun
But
dun.
beyond that, if you want to make sure you come to a premiere with Mr. Shu and myself, next week we'll be here for the Gallows and
Banana.
Minions. Yes. Make sure to let us know down here in the comment sections below. We'll make sure we reserve you seats because
Dun
we
dun
want you
dun
here.
dun dun. Banana.
What's your favorite Arnold? What's your favorite Terminator phrase? Not Arnold phrase. Because like we were talking about Terminator, and I was like, well, who was the first person to say, "Come with me if you want to live"? And everyone's like, it's Arnold. It's really not Arnold. It's Kyle Reese, sir. But what's your favorite line?
My favorite line in Terminator?
In any of them.
Probably when
Out
Edward
of the 5 or
Furlong
4.
says, "Eat me, you jock douchebag." I still say that to this
You know
day.
what? Watching that scene, I'm like, wow, that's kind of messed up. Because like those poor guys literally just came over to help him, and they literally just got the worst of it. He's like, guys, help me get this crazy guy off me. They come, and one gets shot, one
Eat
gets
me, you
broken.
jock douchebag.
I wasn't looking for that one.
Hey, how come in this one they didn't get Bill Paxton back?
Oh, you know what? When we were walking up, that's another thing I want to talk about really, really quick because I know we're running long here. Is the recreation of the first movie is amazing. I mean, it's like so. I've never seen a recreation like that. Like, you can find online the picture
What
of.
about Back to the Future Part 2?
That's pretty good too. But I mean, it ain't like this. There's not the huge gap in time. I mean, what was it? 84 when the first movie came out. Nonetheless, 30 years ago. We have the image of Arnold standing up in the original Terminator, and then Arnold standing up when he first comes to Earth, the original Terminator. In this movie, and it's like, wow, my God, man! Like they recreate that scene to a T. That whole these scenes to a T, and it's so clever. And then when they were walking up to the punks, I was like, yo, please tell me that's
And
Bill
it wasn't
Paxton.
Bill Paxton.
No, I was a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, it's not Bill Paxton.
Because that would have been so awesome. But that moment actually turns out to being one of the most epic moments in the world because that's when another Terminator was waiting for him.
Bum 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 bum.
I'm probably people are so
think we have
tired.
problems.
People are so tired of that already. I
What?
probably
Yeah. Well, people think we have psychological problems, and we probably do.
easy.
Yeah. All right, so 7 days from today,
Minions and Gallows.
we got Minions, we got the horror film. I'm fired up.
Motivated, passionately, never before seen, never before by human being.
That makes sense to me. And ChasingCinema.com is actually known as
The Film Lovers website.